Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Danielle, Alexandra, Lisa, hello. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. If you can put it in the chat, let me know. Hopefully you can. Let me know in the chat if you can see me and hear me. Hello, ladies. Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Yay. So it is 3 after. So we're going to get started on time. We are not going to be on CPC time. For those who don't know what that is, that's fine. It's not for you if you don't know what CPC is. All right, go ahead. I am your host for today. I am Coach Marlena Cole. I am a certified life coach, and I am going to be your host, and we're going to have some fun. I'm going to try to get you in, give you some good transformational nuggets, and then get you off so you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. So thank you for choosing to be with me today. I truly appreciate it. Put it in the chat. Let me know what state, what city you're rocking. I would appreciate that. Hey, Charlene, we're going to have some fun. So listen, this is all about exiting the dating pool and meeting the one this year. I am super passionate about helping single women find the love of their life and really start building the relationship that they truly desire. I'm going to show you some of the tools and strategies and mindsets that has allowed my clients to meet their future fiancés in 3 months or less while avoiding past mistakes. So this is not going to be your typical 5 ways to meet a guy and 6 ways to to get him to text you back, right? I don't deal in that. But it is going to be some super cool mind strategies that honestly, we should have learned this stuff back when we were in our 20s. I'm just going to be honest. We didn't. And so now here we are today. So go ahead. I want you guys to make sure you're interacting with me because that helps me stay hyped and engaged as well. But I want you to take in notes. So hopefully you got some pen and paper and that you got blocked out this time just for you. All right. So I want to do a quick roll call to see who I'm talking to. If this is you, let me know if any of these describe you. And if they don't, then put in some things that do describe you, just so I can get to know you a little bit. So potentially you have a great social life, so a great group of friends, a family relationships, you're a family-oriented person. You're probably successful in your career. You love to travel, new experiences. You probably have a higher education, are working towards that. Your finances in order. So you're like, hey, I got a budget. I know where this money is going. You're responsible in that way. And you know what you want out of life. And I'll add that you're just generally happy with your life, right? Does any of this describe you? Let me know. And if not, put in the chat what does describe you that I may have missed on this list, just so I can get to know you a little bit better. And I'll definitely introduce myself more in a little bit so that you know who you're spending time with today. But the one thing that escapes you out of all of those credentials that we just named is a great love life. More than likely, you're past 35 if you're on this call and you've experienced buying your own house, having a car, paying your bills, probably having children. Maybe you've even been married before. Right? But having that long-term, great, loving, happy, healthy relationship, you just have not been able to get that. Is that true? That's one of the credentials you haven't yet been able to master. And that's why you're here today. Let me know if that's true for you. If that's true, put true in the chat. And you've probably been wondering to yourself, I love me. I worship God. You know, you're probably manifesting other things in your life. And so you're probably wondering, why have I not found love, or why haven't love found me? Right? That's a better way. It's like, yeah, let love find me. Right? Why can't I keep a relationship? right? A lot of the women that come to me, they're like, meeting men is not the problem. Keeping a healthy relationship is. Whether you're dumping them or they're dumping you, it's still a bunch of dumping happen. And what you really want is that long-term relationship, right? And you're thinking, is love even meant for me, right? Am I meant to be that woman who's in a stable, long-term relationship and marriage? Should I just settle for being single for the rest of my life and just enjoy dating and meeting men as they come? Are you thinking any of these things? And you're probably also wondering secretly, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, please help this make sense, because I'm doing all the things that people say I should be doing, right? But it's not working for me. If this is true, put true in the chat. And it's important for you. If I'm pegging you right on this call, it's important for you to be here today, is because you're ready to share your life with someone special. And you know that you have a lot to offer a relationship, but you're just not sure how to get there, right? Again, you're probably meeting men, having conversation, going on dates, but it's like, how do I get to that point where we're absolutely committed to each other, right? Danielle is saying, definitely won't settle for being single for the rest of my life. I know that's right, Danielle. Right? And you don't want to keep being single. Just like Danielle said, that is just not an option. It's like not an option, right? And building a relationship with the right person will help you grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, right? We know and understand that having the right relationship, it's only good for us and it's good for him. But this process of finding that relationship has been slow and exhausting. And you're like this hamster on the wheel, right? You're just spinning your wheels. How do I meet the right guy? How do I break through this long season of singleness, right? It's like, how do I get the relationship that I really want, right? Hey, Terry Lynn, what's happening? And I want you to take this moment, because you've probably, again, been in this hamster wheel for weeks, months, maybe even years, wondering what is happening. And listen, I know this is not your every thought, right? We got bills, babies, and other things going on in our lives, but it's just that trigger that happens that makes you feel this way. And I know COVID was a big kind of hit in the face for a lot of people, like, oh my God, I'm isolated, can't be out running around, traveling, being with my friends, and ignoring that I'm really feeling lonely, right? So I want you to take a moment from all of that exhaustion, right? Just take a deep breath. And I want you really to start imagining your future, right? I want you to imagine with me, if you were getting high energy men approaching you. And when I say high energy, I mean men who are going somewhere in life, men who have a vision for their life, men who want to be committed and have a wife and build a life with someone, right? Imagine if you were getting those type of men approaching you, and most of what matters to you fits your list, right? I imagine by now it's not so much about the height and the weight, but it's more about those core values of kindness, loyalty, right? Does he love his mama? Right? Imagine if these men, that you get to have amazing dates with them, right? Where you're being taken care of, right? I miss the days when I can trust that he can pick me up from my house and open the door for me and drive us to the place we're going and have this date planned, right? Those days are gone for most of us, right? They can still happen, but most of us haven't experienced that. Most of you haven't experienced that in years. But imagine if you did, right? Imagine if you met an attractive, mature, did I say attractive? Attractive, mature man who was faithfully pursuing you, right? Not pursuing you and Jane and Janice and Jackie, but faithfully pursuing you and showing up respectful and loving. And he's wanting the relationship to grow into something long-term. Like, that's his intention. Can you feel that in your heart? Can you feel how good that feels? I can feel that. So listen, this is what happened to me. I spent over 10 years in a cycle of failed relationships. I was literally stood up on Valentine's Day by a guy I had been dating for like 6 months. And we were spending a lot of time together. Valentine's Day came, we had plans. He was a no-show, right? All of my close friends got married or was booed up or engaged. I was literally the only one out of my circle still single. I was stuck in a back and forth relationship for 7 years. Him breaking up, us getting back together, breaking up, dating other people, breaking up. It was a hot mess. And I just lost confidence in myself. Like, what's wrong with me, right? Is love even in the cards for me? Do I even know how to be loved? Do I know how to love? I just had all this doubt about myself. And I felt lonely. I felt misunderstood most of the time because people are like, girl, you got a house, you got a car, you taking care of your daughter, you doing the thing. You don't need a man, right? And then the other half was like, just wait on Jesus. And I'm like, neither one of those are working for me. Right. And so I began to compromise my values out of fear and self-doubt, right? It's like ignoring red flags, not saying something when I should have said something because I didn't want it to get into an argument. I was trying to avoid conflict or seeming like the jealous, nagging person when I knew something wasn't right, right? When he said he was coming and didn't show up for 2 hours later, right? I should have never opened my door, but because I was in this somewhat desperate energy, I opened the door anyway to listen to his BS excuse, right? That's what I mean by me compromising my values. And that didn't help, right? It just made it more frustrating. And I got to a point where I was so sick of me that I was like, the next person that walk out of my life, I am going with them. Have you guys ever felt that about yourself? It's like, I am so sick of doing the same dumb stuff over and over again in these relationships. It wasn't just me. It could have just been me. And I got so fed up with myself one day. I just clearly remember this day that I sat down and I said to myself, Marlena, if all of these emotions of fear and crying every night when he didn't show up and when y'all broke up and feeling all nervous and bubble guts because you thinking he's with another woman, what is this costing you, right? What is this costing you that you're allowing him to show up only at certain times to do a booty call, right? Because you think that's going to lead to something more, right? What is this costing you? Because I wrote down a dollar amount because sometimes we don't pay attention until we pay, right? Until we pay physical money. And so I started writing down all the feelings that I was having and putting dollar amounts to it. And it was costing me a negative $250,162,300, right? And it's like, seriously, if you had to pay somebody this money, would you continue acting this way? Would you continue playing small? Would you continue being a people pleaser? Would you continue dealing with their BS? Would you continue to give this BS? And I was like, no, I'm not giving anybody that type of money for nothing just to hurt me. And that's when things changed for me. That's when I got serious. And unfortunately, I didn't, like you guys, I didn't know about life coaches and dating coaches and people to help you in relationships. I didn't know about all of that. Right. So I had to figure it out on my own through prayer, through just everything I could find. So I started documenting every single relationship. Now, this was like a 6-year span that I started doing this because I was just so fed up with it. But every time I met somebody, I would document our conversations. I was like a documenting fool. And what I wanted to see was, what was I doing wrong? Now, this took me a 6-year pattern, 6 years to do this, because again, I was on my own trying to figure it out. And I actually published my journal of what I was going through when I was single, teaching myself how to be a wife. And it's titled Renewing of Your Mind and Spirit for Marriage. And I figured it out what was happening. And I seen the patterns, the thought processes, the emotions, everything that was causing me harm. And it wasn't always about him. It was me doing it to myself. I was self-sabotaging and self-prophesying over my life. And so I began to change those patterns of thinking and feeling and acting. And I'm telling you, ladies, I created my own damn blueprint to take me from being single to married. Now, it took me over 6 years to do it, made a whole lot of mistakes, but I figured it out. And I don't want you guys to have to do all of that, right? So after a year and 3 months, after I finally got it right and figured out what was happening, it only took me like a year and 3 months to meet and start dating my husband. And so we were like met and got married all within this like 1.5 year span. So I'm telling you guys, I'm not telling you something that I heard, that I read about, or I got from somebody else. I literally paid the price. So it's what they say. I got the t-shirt and the cup. I wrote the book on this, right? And it is not only working for me, but it's also working for other women. So after I got married, maybe about a year and a half, 2 years, I was happy in my marriage, but I was really struggling. And I brought out my own book, and I was like, wait a minute, here's some things that nobody tells us about when we get married. I'm going to go back and start teaching other women about this. So I am the one who have made it through, figured it out on the other side, and came back. And now I'm telling you guys the things that I learned while I was single, and now the things I've learned while I'm married that nobody's telling us, right? Are you guys interested in that? So my mission is to help you guys learn how to create amazing dates, which is the first step, right? Without anxiety, without fear, without fun, and teach you how to take those simple connections and turn it into amazing relationships that turns into marriage. If you're ready for that, give me a amen. Let's go in the chat. Let's go, ladies. Let's go. Listen, what we're learning today is how to meet the one this year. I am such a believer and an advocate for stuff not taking forever. I just don't believe in that, right? I don't believe that things have to take forever to happen. I don't think we have to be in this self-reflection, healing kind of state for years in order to get what we want. I just don't believe that. Right. And our beliefs are so important. I'm a little off script, but our beliefs are so important because we cannot go further than what we believe. Right. So if I believe it takes 6 years and 10 years to meet my husband, then that's what's going to happen. If I believe that I can meet my husband in less than a year, then that's what's going to happen. Right. So I'm about to show you how to meet your husband, meet the one this year, even if you have not had any real relationships in years. All right. Amen. Let's go. I got amen. Let's go. All right. So I got 3 amens. Let's go. So we're going to keep it rocking, people. We are going to keep it rocking. Here's the first secret. I'm going to give you 3. And this is really taking you through. Write this down for you ladies who are writing it down. I'm really taking you through 3 high-level steps: attract, connect, and build. So you're attracting the right person, you're connecting at a deeper level, and then you're building, right? Sometimes we want to meet and then build, but we got to make sure there's a process to it, right? So this is what I'm taking you through at a high level, okay? So the first secret is how to have men flocking to you, even if men don't approach you now or haven't approached you in years. So sometimes people have men approaching them, but they aren't necessarily the men that they would build a relationship with, right? So we're talking about the right men that you could build a relationship with. The second secret we're going to jump into is how to choose the right one, even if you've made mistakes and ended up in toxic relationships in the past, right? We're going to show you how to choose the right one, or show you at least one secret on how to do that. And then I'm going to show you how to go from conversations to commitment. Right? Even if your past conversations and interactions with men have fallen flat, haven't gone anywhere, you're stuck in a cycle of good morning, how you doing, babe, text messages, right? And it don't go any further than maybe 1 or 2 dates or 1 or 2 months, and then it fall apart. I'm going to show you a secret on how to go from conversation to commitment that is absolutely powerful. All right? So let's get it, ladies. The first secret, how to have men flocking to you, even if men are not approaching you now. Let me know if men are approaching you, right? Do you get great, high quality men approaching you? Yes or no? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Yes or no? And so as you're putting that in there, let me keep going. So most single women think, I'd rather be alone than to settle for less. How many of you have thought that? Let me know. How many of you have thought, you know what, I'd rather be alone than settle for less? But see, here's what happens. Here, Terry Lynn Shirley said no. Okay, a lot of people think that. So what do you think? So here's what happens, regardless to what your thought process, right? It could be, usually when I ask women, what is it that you want? they usually start telling me what they don't want, right? So it's like, oh, I want somebody, I want to be married, but I don't want to make the same mistake. I don't want to marry somebody who cheat. I don't want to marry somebody, right, who finance is not in order, right? So whatever I don't want, think about that. Put that in the chat, the I don't want, right? Tell me what you don't want. Lisa said yes, right? So we're on the same page now. So whatever I don't want, when we think about that, and a lot of times we think about that more than we think about what I want, right? So whatever I don't want, put that in write that down, because whatever happens, whatever you're thinking in the I don't want line, you are fearing what happened in the past will happen again, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? So the only reason why you're saying I don't want to settle, or I don't want somebody cheating on me, I don't want somebody to ruin my life, or I don't want somebody who's going to waste my time, right? I don't want somebody who's not faithful, right? When we say I don't want, right, it becomes where our energy and our attention goes, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then that's what we end up with, right? And so let me show you an example. And it's because the key to this thinking is that you attract based on your level of energy that you're thinking, the level of energy that you're feeling, whatever your belief systems and your perspectives, right? So a lot of people believe there's not any good men on their level, or I only meet unavailable men. And you guys report this as if it's the news, right? I always meet unavailable men. And you're reporting it as if it's the news. And then what happens is you start meeting unavailable men. Lisa put, I don't want someone I can't communicate with, or someone who is controlling. Yes, thank you for that, Lisa. Because when you start, so I can use that as an example, right? So when we fear that controlling or somebody who don't communicate, 9 out of 10 times we've either experienced that ourselves, where we've been in that type of relationship, or we've seen it as we were growing up, like with our parents or whoever was around in that a relationship. So it's like, no, I don't want to argue all the time. Like my mom and dad argued a lot. And so now it's like, I don't want to argue, right? But then I'll meet men who always want to argue. And that's because I'm not creating what I want. I'm creating in my life what I fear, because energy and things come to me based on my thinking, my emotions, my belief systems, and the perspective and how I see relationships. Does that make sense? If you're rocking with me, put a 1 in the chat, and I'm gonna explain this a little bit deeper. So there's 2 types of energy that attracts things to us, or people call it your vibe. I love calling it your personal power. So I'm going to use energy and vibe throughout this conversation. So there's 2 types of energy. Anabolic energy. Anabolic energy is building, healing, solution focused, right? Catabolic energy is draining, destructive, fear-based energy, right? Vibe, right? You know how you feel in somebody's vibe. It's like, oh, even with women, it's like, I really like her, right? Oh, I love her personality. I love her energy. I love her vibe, right? And so we all have an energy. We all have a vibe, and it's either anabolic, healing, building, solution focused, or it's catabolic, draining, destructive, fear-based, okay? So when we're thinking that I don't want thing, which is usually top of mind, because we think of fear is right, usually top of mind, not making the same mistakes, not getting into another toxic relationship, not getting our heart broke again, right? That's usually top of mind when we start talking about love for most women. So here, this is you in the little bubble. No butt, no breasts, but go with it. So here's your secret thoughts, and the bubble around this is your energy. Right? This is your vibe, and everybody has this invisible energy about them, right? And so you're thinking, I don't want a controlling man. I don't want somebody who can't communicate. I don't want somebody who's still cheating. I don't want somebody who's broke. I don't want somebody who don't love God. I don't want somebody who XYZ. And so I don't want somebody who's not emotionally available. I hear that all the time. Right? And so when you're thinking that, you're in a draining, destructive thought pattern of judging, blaming, fearing, and controlling. right? Because you're trying to control how they act. You're trying to control not getting yourself hurt. You're fearing rejection. You're fearing being alone by yourself. You're fearing that you're not good enough, right? You're blaming, right? You're blaming there's no good men out here, or all these men are playing games, or there's no good men in my city, right? Whatever our thing is, we're blaming. And then we're judging by saying there's no men on my level. I hear that all the time, right? There's no men on my level, right? And so now you're making them lower than you. And that's catabolic energy, right? Has anybody ever done this? Thought these thoughts. And so what happens, because energy, right, comes to you, you bring to you based on what you're thinking, believing, and your perspectives, you start to attract those type of men who match that catabolic energy. And then you start feeling unworthy because your relationship's falling apart, because he haven't chose you and married the other woman, right? You're feeling unworthy. You're feeling embarrassed because you're like a certain age and still not married. You're a certain age and still haven't been in a long-term relationship, right? You're embarrassed because you're the one who keeps showing up at the family dinner with no date, or the work events with no date, right? I felt embarrassed because I was the only one in my friend group who could not get into a healthy relationship, right? And then you start fearing getting hurt. So you put up all of these different defenses, right? And you guys are so smart that your defense mechanism seems so sexy. You're shopping, you're traveling, you're overworking yourself, right? You're getting all these degrees. I have clients who've gotten PhDs, double master's degrees, and they're still unfulfilled, because really what they wanted was love, but they tried to replace it with things. And when you think and feel that way, whether you're conscious of that's how you think and feel, or it's happening unconsciously, what you draw to you, because that's catabolic energy, is no one. And you start thinking, why hasn't someone loved me enough to stay and do the right thing by me? That was this is my honest thought. Has anybody else thought something like this? If you have, let me know you're with me. Let me know that you're with me and it wasn't just me. I know it's not just me. Or you draw somebody and he is at that same catabolic level. He's feeling insecure. And when men feel insecure about themselves, they try to control you, right? Out of fear that you'll see that they're not good enough, or they're not macho enough, a man enough, right? Strong enough. Right? Men have big egos. So do women, but men really live by their ego. And then they start blaming you, right? Gaslighting you, all because they feel insecure, right? So now you have the catabolic energy of judging and blaming and fearing, feeling helpless. He has the catabolic energy of controlling, feeling insecure, trying to blame you. And you guys draw each other, because like energy attracts like energy. And that's how you end up in toxic situationships that we call relationships. Or you end up, like I said, with nothing, right? Let me go back. Or you end up with no one. Which one of these are true for you? Or you ended up with nobody, toxic relationships, or both? Let me know before I go on. Nobody, toxic relationships, or you're ending up with both. You end up meeting men who words look like the Eiffel Tower, right? Just so all these promises, and you're the one, and I love you, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Words just beautiful, but his actions, are a whole nother deal. He's not showing up. He's not committable. He's texting instead of calling. He's turning over in the bed with you while he's texting somebody else, right? You're seeing him on Facebook flying off with some other chick, and you're like, I just got off the phone with this dude. I was just with him last night, right? It's like, he's like, oh, first one day you're the one. He wants to marry you and planning the wedding, and then the next day he's like, yeah, you're not the one for me. 2 months later, you see that he's marrying some other chick that he just met, right? So that's what's happening because of our energy. because of the way we think, because of the way we feel, because of our past experiences. But what you truly desire is a high value man, right? And everybody gets to define that the way they do. For me, it's somebody who is spiritually, mentally, physically grounded, somebody who has a high value of family, of love and commitment, right? Somebody who can go through a storm and not fall apart, right? But a high value man with all those things based on how you define that, he's emotionally available, he's smart, he's mature, he's committable, right? What would your high value man look like? Put that in the chat. How would you describe him? You know, and the thing about these high value men, they pursue women with a like energy or vibe as them. Terry Lynn said, now I know why I shop the way I do. Wow, mind blowing. Yeah, we're self-medicating. We're unconsciously self-medicating instead of facing it head on, because, and it makes sense, because we don't know what to do. Now you do. You won't have any excuse after this class, right? So high value men, here's the thing. High value men pursue women who have their like energy or vibe, right? So this is why we see, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but this is why we see sometimes really maybe women who are not really attractive with these gorgeous men who are treating them like queens, opening the door, you know, they on their arm, and you like, I know I'm a 10 and she's more like a 4. What's happening here, right? Or you see a woman who maybe not as have all the credentials, maybe she's not as financially set, and she's with this wealthy or well-off guy who's taking care of her and all her 10 kids, right? And you're like, what? I only got one kid, 700 credit score, right? What is happening here? Make this make sense, right? He's basing off her vibe, her energy. And the truth, ladies, is these type of men, they only approach women who give off a high, approachable, safe vibe, right? Because men are not high value men who are worth marrying are not trying to talk to everybody because you got a cute, because of your, what they say, lips, breasts, thighs, and butt. They like and they'll look, but that's not how they're choosing their wives. And they only approach the women that they feel that they can approach, that they are safe with, that their vibe. And it's an invisible thing, but you can feel it. You can't see it, but you can feel it. So it's not necessarily about how you look. That does play into it because men are visual, but it's about your energy that you're giving off. Make sense? Let me know if this makes sense. So here's the secret. Write this down. Take a picture of it. You must raise your level of energy, your vibe, if you want to have high value men flocking to you. Because like energy attracts like energy. It's kind of like our parents used to say, birds of a feather flock together, right? Did your parents ever say that, or did you ever hear that? Which is why we couldn't hang out with the kids who were smoking weed and drinking and having sex, because they're like, no, eventually you're going to be doing the same thing. So it's the same thing, ladies, with your thinking, your belief system, your perspectives. And we're going to dive deeper into this so you can fully see it. But like this is the secret. This is, if you want that, if you want high quality men approaching you, then you're going to have to raise your level of energy because they're at a higher level. Okay. So what is your energy level? How do you determine that? Right? I'm going to show you that, but I want to introduce you to Angela. This is one of my past clients, and I'm still in touch with Angela. So Angela came to me because she kept meeting men that were afraid of commitment. They would go 3-4 months strong. And then all of a sudden he's like, I met somebody else, or, you know, you're a really nice person. I'm just not ready for anything further. Right. And so the relationship would always fall apart within a year or less. And so with Angela, when she came to me, she was like, what is happening? Right. And so when we did her energy test, I have a test and I'm going to show you in a second. Her energy test, we were able to see how she thinks, how she feels, her perspectives and belief system, all these intangible things that's making up your vibe and your energy. I have an assessment that allows you to see it in black and white. and you're going to be blown away. And so with Angela, what we've seen is that she had a mindset of, I'm going to win, and if you win, cool. She had a mindset of, oh, I'm a bullshit catcher. So she was catching all the knots, right? All the, oh, I see him being sly type of things. And she thought that was serving her, but really it was just becoming a self-prophecy, because she started unconsciously looking for where people were lying and being deceitful, and she kept meeting it, right? And she had a coping mechanism of shopping. Oh, she stayed bad, always looking fly. I think part of that was her personality, but some of it was part of her defensive, her coping mechanism, because she hadn't found that person. And that was the only thing missing. She had a great job, family life, beautiful home, beautiful friends, right? She was covering up and coping with the fact that the real thing she wanted was that loving person. And so she had a shopping and making sure she always was on point. And with Angela, she responded more logical than emotion. So she was just hard to connect with. And we start breaking that down and going through that based on her energy. And after raising her level of energy, she's now in a loving, stable relationship. And it's actually with a guy she was kind of going off and on with for years. And once we raised her level of energy, and let me show you that, him and her are like on the same page in a great relationship. She actually just posted on Instagram their anniversary. And so they're doing amazing. And so this is your energy profile. This is when you come and work with me and I be your coach, if that's what you choose to do. And I'll give you an opportunity to see what that looks like at the end. The first thing we're going to do in the first week is take your energy assessment. And this is going to show me, based on the several levels of energy that makes up your vibe, that makes up this energy field that's going to attract to you these high value men. I knew right off when I took her assessment that she was stuck at level 3. And this is what was preventing her from meeting the level of man that she desired, right? And level 3 was all about that. If I win, cool. It was a lot of fear, a lot of coping, a lot of defensive mechanisms. So when you come and work with me, right off the bat, I'm going to be able to see the biggest line, and there's 2 graphs to here, and I'm going to be able to look at how you responded to the answers and go, oh, Charlene, this is what's blocking you. Tell me more. Terry Lynn, this is what's blocking you. Tell me more. Mary, Danielle, this is, Lisa, this is how I'm going to know. So we're not doing the, oh, let's see, maybe if. No, we're going straight to it. Who's down for that? Who wants to know their vibe, their energy? Put vibe in the chat. Put vibe in the chat. And here's the thing. If you want mature men flocking to you, and honestly, you only need one, right? We don't need a whole bunch of men. We just need one. Then you will need to be the energy that you want to attract, right? If you want mature men flocking to you, or that one person, then you will need to be the energy you want to attract. Vibe. Terry Lynn said vibe. And so for those, I know I want to make sure this masterclass is worth your time. So I know some of you probably won't come and work with me. So I want to show you how to at least do a litmus test of your vibe without taking the assessment. So you would need to determine these 3 things, right? To help you determine your level of energy. Who are you being? What do you want? Be clear with that. Don't go into that I don't want. What do you want? Be very clear, very specific. And then for each reason that you want it, write down, why do you want it? Right? Who are you being? What do you want? And why do you want it? And when you look at this as a whole, you're going to say, okay, either I'm anabolic or this is catabolic. Right? Either this is a healing, building, solution-focused desire, or this is a draining, destructive, fear-based desire. And that way you'll know what things to start changing, okay? So I just want to make sure you guys have something tangible that you could do on your own. And my clients, when they come in, the first time we go over their assessment and they start understanding their energy, their lives are changed. Something shifts, because it only takes one thing to shift your energy, one thought, one different perspective to shift your energy, right? So it's not this big old mountain that we have to go through. right? And so when you shift your energy, you start drawing men to you. This one client was like, seriously, I used to feel like men ignored me. Now I really feel like I'm drawing them in. I'm at the Aldi's yesterday and I'm like, hey, because men all over the place looking at her, right? Trying to talk to her, giving her compliments, right? This one client's like, it feels good to express my feelings with no expectation of the outcome. Right? Sometimes we get so much anxiety about where the relationship is going to go and where it's going to end up that we just give off this catabolic vibe, right? And she was like, I'm good, right? And so this is the power of raising your energy. I love this. One of my clients, she was coming off a divorce, and so she was just like, I need help just getting myself together, right? And so she was like, had always had African men try to talk to her. Now she's an American woman, but always had African men try to talk to her. And after we started looking at her chart and coaching a few sessions, she was like, oh my God, 2 American guys was just trying to approach me. And that hasn't happened in years. And since your program, that has changed. So that is super cool. How cool is that? How cool is that? Is that a yes for knowing your energy? Yes, ma'am. I get a vibe. I hear Terry Lynn saying that's what I heard. Still here. Yes. So let's keep going. Secret 2, how to choose the right one without fearing getting into another toxic relationship. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this? 10 being absolutely important. 1 being not so much. You're not worried about that. Put 1 through 10. How important is it for you to choose the right one? Put 1 through 10. Let me know. And here's the thing. Most single women feel that like I've made bad decisions, ignored red flags, stayed in relationships too long, and I'm afraid to make the same mistake, right? There's something of that sort, right? Yours may not be exactly that, but this is a common thing between my women. Especially because most of my women are 38 to 54. Right. So I'm not coaching necessarily 20-year-olds. So you've been through some things, right? My women have been through some things. And basically what they're saying is, I don't want to make that same mistake. I don't want to end up in a toxic relationship. And so what happens when you think and feel this, and it's kind of your dominant thought and emotion around relationships, you're still living in those mistakes. You've probably even forgiven that person, but a lot of times we haven't forgiven ourselves because we want to make sure we don't make it again. So we're looking for signs that it might happen or be in him, right? And so what happens when we're doing that, whoever hurt us is still running our lives, our ex, whatever. Right. And sometimes it's a parent, sometimes a girlfriend that hurt us, right? And make us afraid to open our hearts. Right. Yep. Terry Lynn 55. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'm not a teeny bopper. I made some mistakes. I bumped my head. Right. And what's happening when we stay in that level of thought and emotion is that we're killing all hope for the future, because really our future just becomes our past. I'll say that again. When we stay in this level of energy of trying not to make the same mistakes, our future becomes our past. So we're basically just reliving the past, right? It's kind of like if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to repeat it again in a different type of way. And I think I'm going to say that again later, but that's really what's happening. And the truth is, you're still settling for less than what you want, because what you want is what? Tell me in the chat. You want what? Tell me in one word. Yes, it's just the same cycle. Tell me in one word, you want what? Because if you don't have that now, you're still settling. I want you to meet Felicia. Felicia came to me. She was so afraid of marrying someone that was controlling and abusive like her ex, that she felt like she was doomed to spend the rest of her life alone. And after coaching her, I showed her how to become the hero of her own story, her own love story. And after we coached for we coached 5 months. I think it was like 5 months, maybe not even that long. She met her husband within that time frame that we were in the coaching program. And so she met him in 3 months because I taught her what I'm about to teach you to become the hero of your love story. And he proposed to her within 6 months of them dating. It don't take all day. It don't take all year. right? So what is your love story? This is another powerful way to be able to choose the right person, right? Everybody has a love story, right? Our lives is kind of like a movie, right? My life was a book, and that book can be turned into a movie, right? And like any great movie, there's a super badass villain, right? That's keeping you from sabotaging you and keeping you from what you truly want, right? Let me know if you're still with me, ladies. So here's your love story, the framework of your villain in your love story. Your villain is threefold. Okay, this is happening inside of you. This is happening around you. This is happening in your love life. You have an internal, external, and philosophical villain that's keeping you from what do you want? Unconditional love. Who else? That's Charlene and Terry Lynn, only one responded. So whatever you want, right? And so here's your love story. Here's the internal. I'm going to break it down all three. Here's the internal thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and perspectives that you have. And I've taken these from actually clients that have said this to me. I'm the only one in my family not booed up, and it's just embarrassing. That's her internal villain, right? What is wrong with me that I'm never someone's first and only choice? Ooh, I felt that. I was like, oh my God, I lived that forever. And he got married and chose someone else. Therefore, she was like, there must be a kink in my woman's armor, right? That's that internal villain. This is what she's hearing, thinking, feeling. Has anybody felt these things or something similar? Give me a yes in the chat if you felt that. That's your internal villain keeping you from unconditional love. Then there's the external villain. Now, the external villain is really all about somebody else. The internal villain is about you, what you're saying about yourself and feeling and thinking and believing about yourself. External is like, this is outside of me, right? No one tries to talk to me. Work has been too busy. Don't have time to get out. These men play too many games. There are no good men where I live, right? Blah, 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 right? It's always something outside of you. And I coach with and work with a lot of smart women, right? And so they just get super busy. I had one client, you're going to meet her later. She had 3 jobs, and she didn't need 3 jobs. She was making high 6 figures at her first job, right? So you have an external villain. So when it's something outside of you, whether it's the man or the city you live in or your schedule or your job or, these things that are outside of you, just know that it's an external villain. So when somebody says, here's a good way to know. If somebody says, why are you single? And you give some external reason, some man, some city, some COVID, whatever it is, that's an external villain. I want you to stop and go, ooh, there's a villain in my love story. Right? And the last part of this villain is the philosophical villain, right? This is kind of that embedded belief within us. And one client, we discovered in her love story that she was staying single because she wanted to prove to society that she didn't need a man, because she said that society having a man and getting married validates her as a good woman. And she wanted to prove to society that she didn't need to have a man to be a good woman, but she wanted a husband. And so when we uncovered through the coaching process that this was her philosophical villain, her mind and my mind was blown. Right? It's like, oh my God, I'm trying to prove that I don't need the very thing that I'm saying that I want because of society, because of them, right? Your mom be like, who's them? The other one somebody said is, I will stay single to prove a point that I can make it without a man. Now, this is 2 different women this was their philosophical story. And I don't know, you guys, if your race and it does matter just because we're in America and that's how it works. But this is true for a lot of Black women because we have faced so many barriers, and our parents and grandparents, our grandmothers and great-grandmothers went through so much with men that they taught us to be strong and independent, and not to look any further than the end of our wrist for help, not to depend fully on a man, right? And so because that was so embedded in us, We're still, as grown women who have proven to ourselves, proven to the world that we can absolutely take care of ourselves, we're still philosophically trying to prove it. And that's keeping us from what we want. Do you all see that? One girl said to me, and through a text message, I text all you guys, you all received my text saying, hey, come to the thing. And she was like, hey, coach, I don't think you should charge for this. I think that you should do it for free because finding love should be free or something like that. And I totally get what she's saying. But I knew right off the bat, and I hope she came today. I hope you're here today. Because what I noticed when she said that is that she has a philosophical villain in her love story that's telling her, girl, if you pay for a coach to help you get a man, something must be really wrong with you. Right? And I'm like, well, I don't pay people to love you, right? Love is free. But I just show you how to remove the barriers so that love can flow into your life. But she had a philosophical villain. And if you're on here today, I hope you are, because I was like, well, the masterclass is free. But that is a villain in your love story. If you refuse to get help because you're saying you shouldn't need help getting a man, or I shouldn't pay anybody to help me get a man, that's a philosophical villain in your love story. Make sense? Mary said, your time and knowledge is worth something. It is. I paid the price, right? I've paid to be able to be here with you guys. I got the stripes, right? And so it's a philosophical villain in her love story. Do you guys see that? And each one of you have the same thing. It may not be around hers, or it may not be around these three specific things, but you absolutely have one, right? Woo! We feeling this? Makes sense. Yeah. So here's the secret, ladies, to overcoming, because we're talking about choosing the right person. We must become the hero of our love story, right? We can't keep waiting and waiting for something outside of us to make it happen. We must take power over our villains, because our villain is keeping us from the very thing that we desire. And I don't know if I have any of my Christian women on here. I hope I do, because we've been so indoctrinated that he who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? So we sit and wait to be found. But that, if you read further in the Bible, and I think her name was Rachel. Rachel was out being and doing herself. She positioned herself to be found to be Isaac's wife. Now, I could have names mixed up, right? So my Bible thumpers, y'all can correct me in the chat, right? But that's, she didn't have anything like, who is he to have me feed his donkeys or his sheep, right? No, she didn't have any of these villains that was keeping her from that, right? So what is your villain, right? We got to discover those things, because then the villains come with uninvited cousins. And you must become the hero of your love story, because when you don't, your villain keeps you in a cycle of failed relationships. You want love, you want acceptance, you want support, but you fear rejection, you fear failure, you fear being hurt again. And when you fear that, you withdraw, you get defensive, you get defeated, you get super busy, and you don't make room for love. You don't reach out for help, right? You're refusing, like that lady, to pay somebody to help you. I'm like, the richest people in the world have coaches. Michael Jordan. I mean, when you think about basketball, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they would have never become who they were without somebody coaching them, right? You end up on no dates, no relationships, toxic relationships, and you become forever single. And you may not be single, meaning you got a man there, but we're past the belief that any man is what they say, any man is better than no man. We're past that. We've worked too hard to get ourselves to the point where we're at, where we can allow any man to come into our circle just to have a man. You feeling me? Give me a yes in the chat if you feeling that, right? We got to get out of this circle and this cycle because of our villains keeping us there, right? And get to a place where we can be conscious enough and aware enough and confident enough to choose the right person. And I'm going to absolutely show you guys how to do that, right? And so I want you to meet Angela. Now, Angela, beautiful spirit, PhD, brilliant, beautiful woman. And she came to me because she was meeting men, but 3-4 months, it was ending. 3-4 months, it was ending. And she thought she was open because she was drawing men in, right? But she had a fear. What we discovered is that my fear of being disappointed had her guarded, and she didn't realize it. She thought she was open, right? And she learned that her past relationship experience was still running her life. That's what we discovered in her love story. And after learning and teaching her how to take over each leg of this villain, she felt more confident, more hopeful, and ready to truly open her heart. And by the end of the program, she was in a relationship, right? So this is the power of identifying and learning what your villains are, and then working through those, all right? So let's do a real quick recap, because I know I just gave you guys a lot. The first secret was your energy is keeping you in a situationship or no ships at all, right? No relationships at all. Even if you are a nice person, right? Even if you have it going on. Secret 2 was avoiding repeating past heartbreaks by becoming the hero of your love story is absolutely the answer. The answer is not to look to make sure and to hold on to the past, right? We hold on and remember so we don't make the same mistake. No, it's letting that go and understanding why we even made those choices. And more than likely, that's not who you are anymore anyway. So you're not going to even make those same stories. So the villain in your love story and your love life will make you keep getting with the wrong people, right? Because you're focusing on that. So are you still with me? Let me know if you're still here. Put your here if you're still with me, because I'm going to give you the last secret. And then we're gonna close out shortly. So the third secret is how to go from conversation to commitment. And knowing how to have a great conversation leads to commitment, right? Knowing how to spend quality time with each other is absolutely key. So I'm gonna answer a question. All right. So most single women feel frustrated by getting ghosted, being overwhelmed with the online dating apps. They don't know why things are not working out for them, right? They're bored with all these 20 men texting them and chatting them in the apps saying, how good morning, right? Good morning. How you doing, babe? Whatever. It's like, no, you don't know me like that. Call me, right? And you just have emotionally checked out. It's like, I'm exhausted. Lisa's here. Charlene's here. Danielle, good deal. Right? And you feel defeated. How many of you feel defeated and exhausted? I don't know if you guys are online dating or out dating, but it can be exhausting. Right? And so what happens when you are experiencing this after a few weeks, you go and you bury your head in the sand. And you feel like you're doing something wrong because you don't know the right thing to do, right? It's like, I've tried everything. I'm in the Facebook groups. I'm watching the coaches on the videos. I'm doing what everybody's saying, right? I'm showing up. I'm going out. I'm smiling. I'm being open. I'm doing all these things. It's like, you know what? Just forget it. But don't give up, ladies. Don't give up, because what happens when you stop, you look up and 2 years have passed and you haven't been in any real relationships. Right? I had somebody yesterday who hadn't been in a relationship for 15 years because she stopped starting and stopping. And the truth is, the key here is that stopping does not change the outcome. If you don't change the mindset that created it, right? We got to change the mindset that even created the cycle of failed relationships. And yes, there may be some external things with men that is happening, but you have more power than you believe, than you know, with your internal philosophical beliefs. Because the person, when you raise your level of energy and when you find your villain in your love story, then you raise your level of energy and you meet men that are in the sync and valued with you, right? And you stop meeting people who are not aligned in your values and what you want. So the secret to taking communication, a conversation, to commitment is what I call the circle of life dating approach. And this is not about a literal conversation, but it's a mindset and beliefs and behaviors that I'm going to show you and teach you how to connect, attract, connect, and build relationships that ultimately leads to the right person, right? And so here's just a graph of how it works, right? Everybody in your life that you meet starts on the outer of humanity. What we try to do today is meet this stranger and then try to find out if he's going to hurt us, break our heart, if he's serious, if we have chemistry, right? We try to go off of this list that we did when we were like in our 20s to see if he's the one, because we really don't want to get hurt at the end. Right. I call this bottom line in it. So we meet somebody, we're trying to rush the conversation along to figure out if he's the one. If not, I don't want to waste my time. Right. Or we see their profiles like, he's too short. He's too ugly. He's too fat. I don't like he mispronounced the word. He left off a comma. Right. And we try to figure this out in the first date, in the first conversation. What are your 5-year goals? Your 6-year goals? He's a stranger. So what I teach my women is a mindset of whomever you meet online or in person is just like standing in the target line that's really long and you strike up a conversation with somebody. That's all dating is. People put so much focus on dating. The goal is not dating. The goal is marriage. The goal is commitment. Dating is just a small step in the process. And when you use the circle of life approach, we shorten that time that you're dating. And we go into courting. My women start courting. The men start courting my women fast, right? Because they're like, she's the one. And some of the things, the high level strategies that I'm going to teach you is called detached involvement. This is where we get involved in the process and not so focused on the outcome. Because when you start focusing on getting married, meeting the right one, you miss all the opportunities to show up present, to show up and connect with somebody. Right? Because you're trying to hurry up and just see if he's not wasting your time. I call it energetic connection because these high value men, they care how you look, but they're feeling your vibe, right? They want to feel safe to approach you. So we're going to work on your energy. And so you could connect energy to energy, which is more powerful than chemistry because it's actually energetic connection and then chemistry. We're still trying to connect like we're 25. Right? I don't have to feel attracted to him physically in order to connect with him energetically. And then this holographic thinking, right? We see life one way, relationships one way, but we use logic so much. Right? You women are so logical, but I'm going to teach you how to use logic, teach you how to use emotion, and teach you how to use your intuition all at the same time. So that way you can choose the right person. And so this holographic thinking helps my women not to just make an emotional choice or a logical choice, but we also learn to better use our intuition for the person we're going to say yes to. And then the power of choice. This is a game changer, right? Because we feel like either we stay or we leave. No, there's 5 different ways and 5 different powerful choices that I'm going to teach you in making sure that you attract, connect, and build a relationship with the right person. And more importantly, how you show up, right? It's more important in how you show up than the other person, right? And so you have a choice in who you want to be. And you don't have to keep being the person who mess with the married man. You don't have to keep being the person who missed the red flags. You don't have to keep being the person who never was chosen. You can choose to show up and be someone else that actually receive love, give love, right? Experience love. And then I'm going to teach you how to become the barbershop. Do you ladies know why men go and spend 2-3 hours in the barbershop, but their haircut only takes 15 minutes? I'm going to show you that because men connect, and not that I'm a master of men, but I know that men connect and want to feel safe just like women. And I'm going to show you how to create a safe space for your person so you become the barbershop. You become the one that he wants to spend 2 and 3 hours with, right? And not just texting. He wants to literally be in your presence, right? And I'm going to show you all these combined is showing you how to be seen as the only and the best choice for the right man, right? Are you guys feeling this? Put an amen in the chat. I always say there's the old way of dating where you had to ask the father out for permission. There's the new way of dating where you swiping left, right. Is it a cat, dog? I don't know. And then there's the circle of life dating approach that I'm going to teach you that leads to the ring. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. We plan for keeps here. Lisa worked the circle of life like nobody I have ever seen. Lisa went from 0 dates to in 4 years to meeting 5 men in a span of 2 months. One rose to the top. He was like, he said, oh, I know what I need. It was 3 months. He go, oh, I know what I need to do. He came back. I know what he did. He went and got rid of all those other women. He came back after that, and that next weekend, it was like, I want to make this work with you. And they got married within a year. She worked it, and this is their engagement pictures. So this can absolutely be you next year or sooner. Don't take all day. It doesn't take all day. My program is only 6 weeks, right? So we're accelerating because we ain't got time for all that. So I wanted to do a check-in. Has this been helpful? Let me know in the chat if this has been helpful. And I'm going to take a sip of water. And we're almost ending, ladies, because I want to share the most important part. Did you learn how to meet the one this year? Do you feel more confident than what you did when you came? Let me know. So we've learned 3 secrets on how to meet the one. Raise your level of energy, take power over your villain, and using the circle of life dating approach, where you're just standing in line at the target, making conversation. That's it. That's it, ladies. So if you don't come and work with me, remember, the next time you're online, the next time you're out, whatever, dealing with a man, just say, I'm standing in the target line. Marlena said, I'm standing in the target line. Make it a conversation. Don't make it anything more. And when you can be present with that person, he's going to feel your energy. And he's going to want to spend more time with you, whether that's online dating or in person where you're meeting people, okay? So if you choose, if you can't right now, take that, right? Take that nugget, standing in line and target, holding a conversation, right? So these 3 steps right here are the most powerful steps, right? And what would make the difference for you if you were able in the next 90 days to meet your future fiance like Lisa did? Would that make a difference in your life? I mean, you might not know he's your fiance initially, but guess what? In about 5-6 months of you guys dating, you're going to be like Lisa was like, I know he's going to propose by the end of the year. And so what if I can teach you these 3 steps and expedite this, right? What if I can help you do that? Would that make a difference? So if you want to hear how I can help you, type a yes in the chat. Type a yes if you want to hear. Yes, Lord. Yes, yes. Okay. Here is how I can help you, ladies. I'm going to give you a clear roadmap and accountability for raising your level of energy and attracting mature men and connecting for keeps. Okay. I'm going to work with you, as I've been a life coach for 5 years now. And I've gone through this myself and refined it over the years. And I'm going to show you how other women have attracted their husband in 90 days. So would you want to learn that? What worked for me and what worked for them? Yes, yes, yes. And then I'm going to have you help you not make the same mistakes, right? And help you meet the one this year without compromising your standards, right? Because I'm holding you accountable. My women know that I hold them accountable, right? Would you want my help, right? You have a choice here, right? And here's how you can work with me since I got some yeses. We're going to create you a roadmap on how to create love this year, right? I'm going to help you start dating stress-free, having fun, because that's the kind of one of the initial steps. You got to be able to meet the man, right? I'm going to teach you how to attract him, connect with him, the right person, and build that healthy relationship. And we're not going to be waddling and being afraid of making the same mistakes. I know that's a big thing, but we're going to be doing something new, right? And so let me show you what's inside. There's 4 different parts. So part 1, you're going to get the step-by-step instruction, classes like this, master classes like this, kind of this style, where I'm teaching you the concepts and the mindsets, right? So it's 6 weeks of lessons. So the class goes a little bit longer than 6 weeks that we're together, but it's 6 weeks of learning. If you join today, you'll get the extra bonus where it's a master class. I call it He Proposed to Me, because these are the concepts that have really stood out to help my clients be able to get the ring, at the end of the day. You're going to, first week, you're getting your energy assessment. So I can lay eyes on it and be like, hey, Lisa, boom, here's where we need to work. Hey, Mimi, boom, here's what we need to look at. Danielle, here's what's blocking you. Charlene, this is what I need you to do right off first week. We're going to, during the part threes, we're going to get together once a month and we're going to have these personal power workshops where we're talking about, hey, this is what happened. This is what I experienced. We're going to look at your energy charts. We're going to be talking about energy to raise your energy, right? And we're going to keep you accountable for drawing men, right? Part four of this is you're going to basically have unlimited access to me through this questions. You're going to be able to ask questions. So you don't have to Google, why did he ghost me? Or men available. You don't have to do any of that. You're going to have your own personal coach, me. I'm be your coach, right? And I'm going to know your story. I'm going to know your energy. So we're going to get to know each other very intimately. So when I give you coaching or I give you advice, that it's tailored to you, right? It's personal. It's not some general thing that you can Google, right? It's personal for your story. I also have a part where you can ask a man. And this is where I have my own man cave group of a few men that I trust to give my women dating advice. So you'll be able to ask them questions and they'll either record it like on the recorder or they'll give me the answer back, but you'll be able to ask a man. I don't speak for men. That's why I have this. All right. I'm going to introduce you to Elise. Elise thought if I lose weight, if I change my hair, if I made more money, that would make him want to be with me. And she just, through the program, she learned to let all of that go and just be herself. And she said, I'm the new me, not the people pleasing, faking it till I make it me. She's like, no, I'm more empowered. And Elise has been in a relationship the last 2 years with a great guy. Last time I talked to her, he was taking her to Vegas for her birthday. Who wants to go to Vegas for their birthday? A man planning the trip. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. I like him. So this program is not created for everybody, right? And you are not here by accident. But if you are here and you are feeling my vibe, my energy, and you feel like this is a hell yes for you, then that's awesome, right? Because it is designed for people who want to be loved right. It's designed for single women who are ready to open their heart for love, who want a loving, healthy, long-lasting relationship, right? Anybody can date. Just call me. If you just want to date, call me. I'll give you 2 tips. I can get you on a date. But if you want to build a life with somebody, then this is who this program is. If you're ready to stop playing small, to stop living by your past, then this is the right program for you. Now, the value of this is $2,500. I'm not charging you anything near that. And not only am I not charging you anything near that, I'm giving you some bonuses to help inspire you to invest today, because I know you're not used to investing in yourself in this way. We used to buying bags and taking trips. This is a whole nother game. But if you do invest today, I'm going to give you access to the He Proposed trainings, which is valued at $297. I'm also going to give you the online dating workshop, and we're actually going to do this one live. So that way I can look at some of your profiles and I'm going to show you I hate to say the right way, but a more effective way of meeting people online, right? So you don't get overwhelmed with 50 million good morning text messages. And then if you invest today and you pay the full amount, which I'll show you that in a minute, I'm going to take your debrief and I'm going to do a personal recording for you, for your assessment, and give you a personal coaching plan that's just for you, right? And that key energy is the key to everything I teach, right? This is Tracy. Tracy said worth the price of admission on its own, her learning about her energy. She was like, me learning about my energy changed the game, worth the price of admission on its own, because it changed for me at work and in her personal relationship. So just getting the energy piece, if I gave you nothing else, changes the game, right? So today you're going to get the Launch Your Dating Life for $2,500 value. You're not paying anything near that. He Proposed to Me training, the online dating workshop, the personal review and plan for your assessment and your energy. All of that is valued at over $3,000, and you're basically getting that for free. I'm not going to go through that. And basically, because we just like, what's the price? So today, if you join today, you get all those bonuses for $997. Or you can get started today for just $598.50, right? The program, you get the 6 modules. The program goes a little bit longer than that because we're still coaching together for another 3 weeks. So 6, 7, about 8 weeks in total is where we're spending time together. And so if you're interested in joining today, you can go to, and let me just put it up here, actually. You should see it. Maybe you don't. So there should be an offer button where you can click it. If not, you can click join. You can go to lovemeright.net/launch my dating life. And I'm actually going to put it in the chat because I'm not sure if the offer button is showing. So I'll put it there. And you can join today for $9.97 or $598.50. Right? I love this. The live session with me. So if you pay in full today, this is another pay in full bonus. You'll get a live session with me where you get to ask me all your burning questions. So all the stuff you've been Googling, you could just ask me and we're going to coach. And we're going to coach as long as we need to. So we need to coach for 3 hours to get everybody questions answered on this call. That's what we're going to do. And that's a value of $597. So I have one of my new clients who are still in the program. And within 20 minutes of her talking to me and coaching with me, she said, I feel the fear and abandonment and rejection leaving me right now. She was like, I feel it leaving my body. And the next day, this guy gave her the sweetest compliment because she expanded her energy. She released all of that fear of abandonment and rejection. And so that was just after 20 minutes. So just imagine what we're going to do in 8 weeks together, and you have an unlimited access to me. So everything I'm offering from a dollar investment amount totals $4,088, right? And I don't want to make this about money. I don't want you to make your decision based on money. I want you to think about, why did you come here today, right? What was the thing that made you interested in clicking on the ad and spending an hour with me today? A lot of my women are like, I keep meeting unavailable men. I'm carrying baggage from my past marriages, right? I feel guilty because I've messed with a married man, right? And now I want a husband. So now philosophically, right, it's like, well, you mess with a married man, so now you want your own husband to yourself, right? So that guilt is haunting her, right? They don't understand men and what they want. And that's why I love having my man cave, because they help us all learn that, right? Maybe you never meet men, right? Or you're tired of being single and tired of playing the games, and you're feeling exhausted with keep starting over at a certain age, right? And you're ready to do something different. So I want you to remember that as you make your choice, right? You have the power of choice right now. And I want you to go back and I want you to imagine, right? We started this by imagining our new future, that your energy starts attracting mature men who are committable and want something serious. And it doesn't require you to settle for anything less than what you desire and deserve. I want you to remember the love that you deserve for just being yourself, right? Love the good, the bad, the fat, the rolls, the stretch marks, right? You want to be loved in all the good and the bad, right? Not just when you put on your mask, right? Not just when you're happy, but you want somebody to love you when you're not happy. I want you to remember that as you make a choice, if you're going to work with me or keep doing it on your own, which is fine either way, right? But I want you to imagine if you don't have to worry about growing old alone, because now you're going to have a plan and a strategy and not just be willy-nilly, right? Trying to figure it out. I love my clients because like they can stop imagining and actually start attracting men. And this is one of my clients is like, yeah, it feels so good when you meet equally kind-hearted men who have you feeling like the only woman in the world, right? These are the type of men my women are meeting. And this one said, I wish I'd have known this in my 20s, right? So she's like, okay, now I can stop making the same mistakes that I made in my 20s, because a lot of times that's what we're doing. We're making the same mistakes over and over that we've always made. And so I want you to imagine, what if you met your fiance over the next few weeks? What if what I teach you in that first call allows you to expand your energy, and you meet him and you guys start dating this summer? How much more fun would the summer be? Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10. How much more fun would the rest of the summer be if you met somebody? Right? What if you had somebody take to your Thanksgiving dinner for your family or Christmas? Because you don't want to take a stranger to Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas because your family gonna be questioning the hell out of them and find out you don't even know them. Right? What if Valentine's Day is coming? I know it's a few months away, but what if by Valentine's Day he's proposing? Right? I know it's kind of cheesy, but what if that happened? Right? Would it be worth it? Now, you always have options. I totally believe in the power of choice. You can DIY it. You can implement the concepts I showed you today. You can endlessly keep doing your commenting on Facebook dating groups. You can keep exhaustively swiping left and right without any idea of how to really use that platform, right? I call it the DIY approach. You can do the avoidance approach. Keep paying all this money to hide the fact that you're not fulfilled in your love life. It's all good, right? You can do the reinforcement and doubt and fear approach, right? Keep sitting, watching your friends get engaged, watching your exes celebrate their wedding anniversary, and you act like it doesn't bother you. You can absolutely do that, right? You can do the faith with no works approach, right? Where you sit and say, I believe, well, God will send me my husband when it's time for me to have him. Hey, I'm not knocking that. And you can keep doing the same stuff you've been doing that hasn't worked, right? Because faith with no works don't work, right? And so you stepping into this program, it's not about me, right? It's about your faith that this is the next step for you, believing that when I put in the work to understand, then God will bless my efforts, right? Because God told Moses, stop praying and raise your staff. I'm not going to do it for you. Or I would love for you to take the coaching approach option, right? Where my clients in 90 days or less, they're feeling no doubt that he will propose to them by the end of the year. No doubt, right? So I'd love for you to join me and let's launch your dating life together. I put the link in the chat. I'll do it again. The offer may be showing up, but I would love to coach you. We will have so much fun together. So you're probably thinking, what if I haven't been in a relationship in years? Will this work for me? What if I don't want to join the dating platforms? I hate that stuff. What if I don't even have men approaching me, right? What if it don't work for me? My question to you is, what if it does work, right? What if it does work? What if it's one thing that you learn that changes the whole game for you, like it did for Patricia? So this is Pat. Her name is Patricia. This is Pat. When I met Pat wasn't even thinking about dating men, nothing like that, right? I talked to her for some research, and Pat was working 3 jobs, raising her son. She had been divorced for a few years. After one conversation, I was just asking her questions, but after one conversation, Pat knew that she had been overworking herself, so that she didn't face the pain of being single. So Pat came in, started coaching with me. And the last we talked, which was actually maybe probably about 6 months ago, right? But no, probably longer than that. But Pat, by the end of the program, Pat was in a relationship, and she just says, he's a really good guy, Marlena. He's a really good guy. And she deserves that because she's a really nice person, a really loving person. And she did the work, right? She did the work. So here's all that you're getting: the Launch My Dating Life, He Proposed to Me training, the online dating workshop. If you pay in full today, which is only $9.97, right? We spend that, trying to go to Barbados to drown our misery, right? You get your personal review debrief and your coaching plan. You get an additional live session with me where we're going to spend as much time as we want answering all your questions. And honestly, your daily access to me through Ask a Coach is priceless. It's absolutely priceless to have your own personal coach. And all of my clients have said the price I paid in money compared nothing to the value that I got out of the relationship, or out of the coaching relationship. And so the total value and price, which is the lowest denominator here, is $4,000. You're getting it today for $598 to start today. And if you want to do the full price to get all the bonuses, then it's $997. All right, ladies. I would love for you to be my next success story. Be Felicia or Lisa or Pat or Terry Lynn or Elise or Tracy. I would love to be showing your pictures here and talking about how you got engaged and how you came to the webinar, you joined the class, and now you're having this amazing relationship. But you have to want it more than I want it for you. And I would love, love, love to be your coach. And honestly, the things we're learning, we should have learned them a long time ago, right? Our parents only taught us to be independent. They didn't teach us how to connect and build relationships, but they didn't. And now it's time for you to learn, right? It's on you if you choose to learn this or not. And this is what I'm offering you to come and be a part of the Love Me. I call it the Love Me Right family, but this particular program is Launch Your Dating Life. All right, ladies, thank you all. We're at time. Thank you for rocking with me. I didn't mean for it to take this long, but I'm excited that you stayed to the end. Let me know your top takeaway. Let me know your top takeaway, and I hope you come and join my family. Go ahead. The link is in the chat. If you're interested, if you have any questions, just text me back on that text number. I text you back. They'll go straight to my cell phone and I'll text you back. Love you, ladies. I'll see you on the inside. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Peace.